Good morning. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and I am exhausted. I got back home from Canada at like 2 this morning. How are you doing, man?
I did not get home at 2 this morning, although I did go to the casino last night because I had to make some bets.
Cool, good stuff. We got 3 live so far. Real quick, we're just gonna do a little introduction in 3, 2, 1. Isn't that great?
Glad you spent all that time to insult me.
That took me 17 hours to create, everybody. This social media thing is hopeless. I'm just kidding. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is this is Fred Brother Nerds, Pickles Nichols, aka Jason. Got kind of a light day today. I couldn't really think of anything like crazy that happened this week, other than the Dakota. I don't know if you heard that 10100 Dakota, Static Dakota book that came out this week. That foil. Have you heard about it at all?
Not that I can think of. I mean, if I see it, maybe I've seen it, but I don't know. I was a little busy at work this week, so it was kind of.
Oh no, it's all good. It was kind of like the people were talking about it like going into FOC or Wednesday or whatever, and like it's a really good. I think Kaysen or Caspian is the guy that drew it. Anyway, it's like a 10100 for that new static character, or I guess old static character that is in DCU. He's that alien superhero kid. I actually just picked up the book just to actually read it, and it's kind of a cool jumping point if you want to understand a character that's kind of newer. And who knows? I mean, Spec's all good and all that good stuff, but it was a pretty good story. That was only like my main FOC book I picked up this week, but I know you picked up some things like earlier. We'll talk about it later on the show, but want to thank everyone who's joined us. We got 3 live today. Maybe it's because of Super Bowl, I don't know, but we'll try and keep this a little light. Our kind of go into the current events here real quick. Let's see. Let me share my screen. Kind of want to highlight this just because I dig it. Shoot, where? Oh no, that's not what I want to share. Those are my submissions. You guys don't care about my submissions.
You trying to flex on us? Check out how many submissions I got in.
Yeah, all my horrible submissions.
Oh, whoops! You weren't supposed to see that.
Hold on. Technical difficulties, everybody. No, I want to talk about this. I think this is pretty cool. Garth Ennis CGC signing. This came out like a month ago, but the reason I kind of highlighted it was because the submission deadline's coming up, and if you are the Boys fan, obviously Garth Ennis wrote The Boys. My favorite Garth Ennis book is probably Preacher or Darkness. Which one's your favorite, dude? I know you dig Garth Ennis, man. Which one do you dig?
I like Preacher. I even I watched the show. I remember watching the show too, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, the show was pretty tight.
I like The Boys.
I liked how it deviated a little bit from the book too. If you're like into that. And then of course Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. We're gonna go see that next Saturday. Woohoo. Pretty excited about this show. It's kind of kicking off what phase are we in, man? I'm like all over the place with all this DC
5
stuff
now, I think.
Is it 5?
I think this is the start of 5.
Oh yeah, phase 5. It's gonna debut a certain mental organism designed only for killing, aka MODOK. Dude, what did you think of the MODOK in the trailer? Like
what with Home Dude's face all stretched out on it and stuff like that?
I actually thought it was pretty cool, and he looked kind of like weird, but it was so short that I really couldn't get like a good, gist out of it, or I couldn't get like a good read of like how cool it was, but I thought it was kind of funny.
Well, it surprised me because I remembered hearing it was like never confirmed, and it was just like rumors and whispers, but that Jim Carrey they were trying to cast for MODOK, and so I was like, I was kind of semi like expecting that. And then when they like rolled him out and I was like, wait, didn't he die? And I'm like, well, I guess they never really showed him die. He just kind of like imploded on himself and disappeared.
Is that right? I honestly didn't even watch that cartoon series. Is that what you're talking about?
No. At the end, in the first Ant-Man, because that's what's his face.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Man, it's been so long since I watched that movie. I liked it. I mean, I dug. I know people kind of crapped on it, but I dug it. Let's see here. Something else I want to highlight today.
Well, it's like, and if I'm being honest, there's always people that hate on some of the Marvel properties. I'm like, I'm a person that's enjoyed most of them. There's like something about it that I take away liking no matter what. Like, I'm not gonna say like, oh, this was completely terrible.
Yeah.
Just because like it was entertaining. It was what it was. Like, you know, sometimes people I think go into these movies with like unreal expectations. They're expecting it to be like an Oscar nominated film or something like that. And it's like, dude, it's just a comic book movie. Like, chill out.
Like, chill. Yeah. Let's see here. I was gonna show this too. I thought I was looking kind of at comic books just online, and I thought this was kind of a cool homage by John Jane. I'm not advertising Big Time Collectibles, it's just where it's available at. But anyway, I followed John Jane and Big Time on Instagram, and I saw this homage, and I thought it was kind of if everyone thinks that Tosin's the next Miles or like, you know, iteration of future comic book characters, I thought this was a good homage. And the art is like pretty future, which I thought kind of ties in with it. But I just kind of want to highlight this. I thought of all the things I saw this week, and I think John Jane posted this on his Instagram not too long ago. But anyway, I thought this was kind of a cool. Everyone talks about homages and how they suck. I thought this one was a pretty good one.
I did see that book too, and I remember thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, that's actually really cool looking.
It makes sense, right? I mean, you're just not homaging like a random like character, like, you know, independent book. And then our homies at On the Radar, they moved. Trey and Vinny did a show on Rumble the other day, and I just kind of want to highlight there. I'm sure everyone in the Discord was watching it. I watched it live. They were just kind of trying to test out the system, but it was a pretty good show. Trey, I kind of highlighted a portion of their show, and what he basically talked about, Jason, I think I was talking with you about this, was basically he talked to a homie of his, and the homie owns like a comic book store, and the homie was saying that, you know, of things that have affected his sales and all that stuff. He'd say that the move to digital and how people are consuming the stories. So people are still reading comic books, but like he had a guy come through, or not him, but I know a guy that came through, and I was kind of chit-chatting with him about some certain things. And he also said that, like, yeah, I don't go to the stores anymore unless I get like a 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 or like a variant that I really like. What's up, Adam? Long time no see. Go Cougs, man. Hey, go Cougs. And then he was basically saying like, dude, I don't have enough room for all my stuff, so I'm just gonna read digital because I still enjoy like some of the comic books. I'm gonna pay like $75 for a DC annual membership, and then I'm gonna save like room, and then maybe an extra $150 in paper that I spend per week or whatever month. But I thought that was a really interesting point in their show. And on the radar, so we're still doing show on Wednesdays, but I think Trey's going to start doing stuff on OTR, on Rumble, like kind of moving forward. I don't know what day, but I'll definitely notify you guys if you care, which you should. Trey and Vinny kind of start off again this week, but I think we'll have probably more guests, or they'll have more guests on that show moving forward and stuff. So just kind of want to highlight that for, you know, for the purposes of today. JT, my boy JT, man, flexing. Yeah, he likes that homage. I'm not big on store exclusives either. And yeah, I think so. I think John Jane, we're pretty lucky. Joe's always coming with the good quotes here. Yeah, I'm not really big on like store collectibles myself, or yeah, not store collectibles, but like store exclusives, just because of like, I mean, they tell you what the print run is, and you know, it's more just like, I think for you and I speak for myself, I don't really get into big store exclusives because of I feel like if you're buying a store exclusive, either you're trying to flip it or like, oh, that's a really good cover, it's to me worth something like down the road. But if you're really doing that for like the investment aspect of it, it's a risky investment, and you're already in. You can't get a discount on it unless you buy it secondary, and if you buy it secondary, it means it's probably worth less, you know. And yeah, this is a really good point, Joe. Yeah, exclusives kill the variant scene. For like the 1 in 50s and the 1 in 100s or whatever. I don't know. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I don't buy them all that often. I mean, I say that as I just bought a what was it, Ghost Rider #1 store exclusive or retailer incentive Clayton Crane cover, but it's just because I love the cover of it. And I'm not gonna try to get rid of it. I bought it for me to keep. But yeah, it's just I mean, I guess it's a case of like you buy what you like type of deal. If you want it, buy it. Like, but I'm not really looking to buy on the off chance that I can flip it. I think like there's certain stuff that I'll buy because it like harkens back to when I was a kid. Like, you know, I've got a couple of I've got a copy of the black and the yellow Forstner Mario homages of the
Mario.
Genies.
Yeah,
and
8 billion Genies, yeah.
Like, but I really like those covers, and so I don't mind like having them type of deal. But I'm not looking to like necessarily buy to flip anymore, if that makes sense. But it is like kind of getting to be like crazy now as far as like exclusives at stores. It's just kind of like every time you turn around, there's another one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know if it's just me or maybe I just stopped like following certain accounts on Instagram and stuff, because like I'm a sucker for a pretty cover as well, Adam. But especially in 2023, like I think, like you said, Jason, like mindset's a little different. Everyone obviously has a price, but like you can't just like spit out exclusives like crazy like every week and expect people to like buy every single one. And I'm not harping on like exclusive cover companies. I'm just saying it's really hard for a consumer to buy every single exclusive for $30, especially if like what if that book is like crap, you know? Yeah, and then I mean, imagine these were ratio covers, right?
Well, because there's actually one that I just saw recently that I was like, ooh, I kind of want to buy that. And it is an incentive one, but it's what is it, Carnivore Comics and Comic Tom exclusive, but it's a House of Secrets '92 homage cover, but it's like a virgin and they kind of updated the cover, and I saw that and I was like, that's actually like really cool looking. Like, I would personally like to have that just for the art itself. I think it's a Delato cover.
Delato's tight. What's your t-shirt say about, or what is your t-shirt there? What is that?
It's just a
Deadpool and
Blind Al. It's Blind Al's roommate.
Oh.
She's pointing the wrong way.
Oh
he's annoyed by that because she's blind. See.
Oh yeah.
But it's supposed to be like Pulp Fiction.
That's cool. I love it. That's cool. We got A Live in the 15 minutes into the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in on this Super Bowl Sunday. Dude, who do you got before I start with the slides? Because I know everyone's anticipating. They just can't help themselves. Who do you got? Who do you got to win, and who do you want to win?
So I bet on most of my bets are for Kansas City, just because because they're projected to be it's like a slight list, like less. So I picked them in as far as betting. Now I just don't know if they have what it takes to keep up with the Eagles. Because I mean, it's like when you're trying to keep up with an offense that has Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert, and you're just like, all right, it's kind of like, who do we stop type of deal. And then you play Mahomes, and it's basically Mahomes and Kelsey, and then it's like they don't really have a true number one. Like most of their receivers are a second or third like string receiver on other teams at best. So it's just kind of like, who do you rely on there?
Adam says he hates those teams. Yeah, dude. I don't say I want Montana to win.
It's like I don't really care who wins, honestly, because it's just like whatever. But I bet most of my bets are for Kansas City to win because I can win more money that way. Like I think I've got Dallas. I think I picked Dallas Goedert to get the first touchdown though.
You got you.
I couldn't find the one I wanted to bet on. I couldn't find. I wanted to pick the color of Gatorade that was going to get dumped on the winner because I was feeling blue for some reason, and couldn't find it.
What did they ever do? Have they ever done just like water, like clear?
That's actually an option too. Yeah.
Is there really? Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think the odds were better for purple. It was like plus 600 or 700 for purple.
Joe says you don't need the best receivers when you have the best quarterback. Sorry, that's a good argument, I guess. I myself prefer Philly because my cousin is from Philadelphia, so I always cheer for a Philly team. I cheered for Philly last year because obviously, against Houston or whatever, in the World Series or the World Series. But I think personally Philly has been the best team this whole year. They have the best quarterback room in the world. And what's amazing is like, so they won, when did they win the Super Bowl? Like 2017, 2018, whatever. They got a new coach. They didn't do a whole entire new overhaul in the roster and now they're back in it as a favorite to win. I think it's pretty amazing, like how the NFL, you can just basically like, you can go in, and this is so, I know it's not, I want to say it's cliche, but I know it's common knowledge. Like you can go in, screw up the whole roster. And we're collectors here. So yeah, for the karma, go KC. Well, it's just amazing how the NFL, you can just be like complete garbage in like 2 years and then become affordable, like superpower in like another 2.
Yeah.
And it's the whole argument. I mean, Brock Purdy like kind of proved the whole argument that you don't have to get like the greatest quarterback ever. And the salary cap just makes it so like just different with how you build your team. And obviously like us being Seahawks fans, the argument here in Seattle is like, do you re-sign Geno to a $30 million a year contract? No, but he deserves it, right?
He deserves it, yeah. But it's like, if he can get it, I just for the benefit of the team, I'm thinking like if he wants to do 2 years, 20 mil total, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to take that to stay here, I'm also not going to hate on you if you get an offer to go somewhere else and you take it for more money, because thank you for what you've done. But we can still like, if we have to limp through with, limp through with like Drew Lock for a little bit, we'll see what we get in the draft, like type of deal, whatever. And
I think also like, as fans, you always try and play like Monday morning quarterback, but like, dude, we don't know anything, man. Like those guys in the coach's room, they work 80 hours a week. They're Pete's done well or whatever. Anyway, so
like, I don't think he seems like the type of guy that I don't think he's going to try to go too overboard with what he wants. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like he seems like a guy that's willing to like take whatever to have a better team type of deal.
Right. Yeah. It's more of an exciting concept to have Drew Lock going. It's like our starter, and having like more defensive players that we can possibly sign. I think that's just more of an exciting, like, oh, I just want to see what happens. And like, maybe it could work out versus like, I won't be as like curious about the team if Geno gets re-signed because whatever. But anyway, that's for another channel. And we don't talk about sports in this. We're nerds. All right, let's start with our slides. And thank you everybody for joining. We got K-Dron's going on. Long time no see. Well, I saw you last week, but we got. If you ever wanted to win a slab today, this is the week to do it. We have only 6 entries for this slab here. So I wanted to do a giveaway for in honor of Kane. Kind of the movie coming out and stuff. So this is the Avengers #2 from 2017. It's essentially like 17 different Kanes. The cover is done by Alex Ross. I thought it was really sick. This bumped up, like, these were selling for like 20 raw back in 2021 or whenever the announcement was made. And I think slabs go for like $75 to $100. But anyway, so Jason and I, we are. Oh no, dog, I got you. I put you in the wheel, so you're good. You just gotta stay through the whole entire mess of what we're talking about, because we do at the end of the show. If you're not in the comments, I'm can't help you. Just kidding. So anyway, so Jason and I, we're trying to come up with ideas for the show this week, and we'll do a market report at the end, obviously. But I was just curious of like who's a character that defines an era. And I know it's kind of like a easy kind of answer, like in the earlier times, like golden age, silver age, or whatever. But once you kind of get down to the bronze/copper modern age, I wouldn't say we differed. I think we agreed, but we had some other kind of picks, and I hope you guys find them interesting. We'll start off with the golden age and run through all the way down to the zillennial age, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what it's called really, but I just made that up. So
the new shit.
Yeah, let's get this started. And real quick, if you're not following Jason at Pickles Nichols 2, I'm sure you're following me, because I mean, obviously, right? I'm just kidding. And thank you. Salamat po. That is your Tagalog language lesson of the day. That means thank you. Biggest modern first appearance. Yeah, basically, yeah, that's what we're highlighting. Yeah. So you'll see. I hope you guys enjoy this one, but Joe, just wait. Okay? Dude, just wait. We're doing the list. That was a close second, though. Wait, I can't even remember what we did. Anyway. So what are we talking about here? So again, like I said, Pickles and myself were very curious about characters to define each generation. We're just kind of, basically just I wanted to get Jason's opinion, and I wanted to see how well we kind of commingled about it and stuff. Damn, that was a good one too, man. Sorry. And anyway, I'm loving the comments in here. So kind of starting off with, that was a horrible picture. I'm sorry. This is a horrible picture of Action Comics #1. That's the only one that I could find and use. Like, it looks incomplete, but that's actually the comic book. So the golden age, the first era of the comic books. Wikipedia's definition was like 1920s to the World War II. It's so funny. I was reading up like the definitions of like each era, and Wikipedia was kind of like the one that was most consistent. Like, it seemed like there was good proof, but then like comic book, like resource.com had like different dates, and then like there's the Copper Age and Bronze Age, but I'm like, dude, that's like, to me, that's like the same one, right? Right?
What? Bronze and copper, or you say bronze and copper are the same age?
I mean, right? I mean, aren't they the same age? I mean, like,
I believe so. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So it was funny because, like, right? Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was just confusing in people's definitions. So I apologize if you're like, no, those are not the right dates, sir. But so yeah, John, for sure, like Copper Age is late 80s into 2000s. I just was so confused at like the different definitions of everything. So again, I apologize if you are
it's like freaking listening It's like listening to metal music. There's so many subgenres now. I'm just like, it
Yeah.
used to just be metal, and now it's like this core and that core and blah blah blah. And you're just like, oh my god. They're like, that's not
Yeah, so
what brand it is.
it was just super confusing. So I was just like, oh, screw it. I'll just do whatever. So anyway, Golden Age, first appearance of, obviously, we know who it is. Superman, Action Comics #1. Last sale of a 6.0. So this is really interesting, dude. So this last sale of a 6.0 went down, I want to say like late last year. However, before the pandemic, it was like right at the beginning or before the pandemic, an 8.0 went for like 1.3 million.
Well, I know that the like this, well, not this, but the actual Superman #1, his first appearance, holds the record for highest sale. I believe it was like an 8.0 copy sold for like 5.3 million or some shit in like 2022.
Yeah. And Joe, I don't know if you can type, or John, I don't know if you can, or anyone in the chat, like, I couldn't find like a resource that could, I probably could look at the CGC census, but I didn't, which is dumb because like that's the census. But does anyone know what the highest grade is at all? I was just curious because like 6.0 for 3.4 million, that seems like, I mean, this is the book to have if you were like, obviously, but like, holy cow, like that's like so much money at the end of like 2022 when everyone was like, or we're still paying egg prices for whatever they are. So,
well, and the weird thing was too was so like Siegel and Schuster, the guys who like wrote and drew this, they sold the rights for $130
last year. Just kidding.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, and it was weird too. So like apparently Superman was, so when they originally did him too, he was supposed to be a villain, a bald villain at that. Is what they wrote him as originally, and then he eventually evolved into this because it kept getting shot down. Like people wouldn't print. They were basically, I think they were going to newspapers trying to get it in comic strips and stuff like that before it was picked up by Action Comics.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was just like, so basically he was supposed to be Lex Luthor before Lex Luthor came along. It sounds like, because I was like, imagine that if Superman was like a bald bad guy.
Who would be the hero then if he was supposed to be the bad guy?
I have no idea. Like they had just written him as a villain originally and then evolved him into a hero.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, and real quick, we got 9 live in the chat. This is kind of off topic, but if you are checking Jason's Tinder profile and we need some comedic relief, he says, ready to rock your world.
God damn it. You know I'm not supposed to be cussing on this thing, man. You're trying to make me cuss.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God. Oh. Jason's gonna kill me. We're gonna get like the 10th episode. Bert has been murdered.
You're just gonna see like my hand's gonna go like this out of the screen, and then it's just gonna be like poosh.
Oh man. Oh man, I've been waiting all show to do that. Did you see that? You didn't see that in the banner.
No.
Sorry.
Well, I saw the banner when it came up. Yeah.
Anyway, that's a joke, everybody. Silver Age. So when Jason and I were putting this, when we were putting this list together, we were kind of like texting each other back and forth and stuff, and so we agreed upon a lot of these. So it's the first couple ones. I mean, it's pretty obvious, and there was, without kind of going out of like just trying to make an argument, like it was just so hard to. You could go like X-Men, I guess you could say, but it's just like there's so many X-Men, right? I guess you could have gone Flash. No, Flash is, I don't know. But like, dude, like this is what we imagine because we weren't alive back then. And just talking with people.
I was waffling on Hal Jordan too.
Right. I mean, yeah, and there was a lot that we were gonna, we could have picked, or like kind of. I was thinking like, well, maybe we could do like side by side, but I was like, nah, let's just keep it like kind of centralized or whatever. Yeah. But obviously, like ASM 15, Yeah, ASM 15. First appearance of Spider-Man. I mean, that's the book that everybody wants. I would say, I think more people. Flash is golden. Yeah, yeah. See, that was the thing, man. Like some sites said that Flash was like silver, but yeah, I agree, man. I thought he was like golden.
I think he came out in like the 40s, right, or something like that.
Yeah, but it was like weird though, because like I don't know the definite like, and I should probably just do more research or whatever, but like I had to call someone at work. But yeah, so it's just kind of hard to like kind of like centralize. Okay, this guy's starred is considered golden, but like this website says it's silver and all this stuff. I don't know. But yeah, this is our pick for Silver Age. Last report sale this past year of 9.2 was for 800K. I thought like if you're like a money guy got that book for 9.2. I mean, that's a great investment in my opinion. You know, aside from the movies, aside from, you know, the future of the MCU, like everybody knows about this book if you're a comic book collector or like a fan. So, hey, what's going on, Renee? Thanks for joining, dude. I'll put you in the little wheel here. Here, what do you think, dude? Like, what do you have to say about this book?
Yeah, I mean, I like when I was thinking about Silver Age, I was going back and forth because like Silver Age had so many good characters that came out, but it's like like you said, Spider-Man's kind of like the one that just stands out to me. Like I was thinking like X-Men possibly. I was thinking Hal Jordan just because of how like he kind of came in and cemented the Green Lantern in DC, because until then he was just kind of like they brought him in and it didn't really fit too much, and then all of a sudden it was just like boom, he just kind of cemented it. So I'm like, he changed the landscape of that. But yeah, it's just any like even like a friggin' 5-year-old nowadays knows who Spider-Man is, like, and he premiered what back in like 19, what was it, 63 or something like that was his first book. 62 is when this came out or something like that. Plus, not to mention, it's like Steve Ditko, artist, Stan Lee, creator, like, and writer. It's just kind of like that famous combo.
Yeah, you know, and the interesting thing I think about comic books, right? It's so we were talking in a Discord, and I wouldn't say got a heated discussion. It's more of a discussion of like what's annoying about like what people get from comic books and like what's like kind of pushed or like what's kind of authentic. And like for me, with any type of like art form, like I feel like you have to be authentic, right? And the best stories are one authentic. And with comic books in general, I think the best stories are the ones that adapt from like real life things, like whether that be like history or in comic books, mostly it's like, yeah, propaganda, what like Adam was saying. I do agree with that. I mean, I think movies have propaganda kind of ties too. I'm not talking like propaganda, like kind of force fed, but just kind of like to talk about current times or like just whatever. And I think a story about a kid who is a little awkward and maybe picked on for being smart back in the 60s, right? He's got glasses, he's kind of nerdy, he's into science, all that stuff. Dude, what's going on? Iman's World of Geek. I just found this dude on YouTube, and he has probably some of the cleanest. Sorry, I'm kind of on top, but I just want to highlight my guy here. He has some of the cleanest videos I've seen in a long time, and he's super positive. He's a Pinoy dude. Go follow him on YouTube and give him some likes and give him a follow too. Thanks for coming through today. He's got a cool show coming, I think, tomorrow, which I think it's like 7:30 or something. Put it in the chat, bro. Anyway, I just think like when I was thinking of, you know, how Peter Parker kind of meant to kids back in like the 60s, I bet you a lot of kids related with him. Like a lot of kids that were nerdy and like just like science and just like to, you know, whatever you want to call it. Hey, what's going on, Manyo? our text later about the Super Bowl. Yeah, I just think what draws people to comic books is like the relatism that you can have to a character, but it has to be drawn really well and it has to be authentic at the same time.
Well, and I think too, and one of the things, like it was one of the reasons why I brought up X-Men, because that, I mean, at least for me, that was my first realization reading a book when I kind of realized this. And I think it's a consensus amongst most of the comic book community where we all kind of felt like an outsider at some point or another, like uncomfortable, didn't fit in type of thing. And then, but reading comics taught me, anyways, especially like through the X-Men ones, was like, it's okay to be different. It's okay to be that way because you can be different and do good as well. And it's just kind of like, I remember, and I think I can't speak for the whole community, obviously, but I feel like that's a common bonding point for a lot of the comic book community is we all kind of had that feeling, and comics were one of those things as when I was a kid that taught me that lesson of like being different doesn't necessarily mean bad. Like you can, like, being different is good or can be.
Yeah. And that I think that's what I was kind of like going back and forth. Like, I think what, I was kind of going back and forth with like X-Men, right? Like, I thought that may have defined like kind of what was going on in that generation, the 60s, like such a dark time. And like, I don't know about world history, but like, I mean, like MLK gets, murdered or assassinated, JFK assassination. The other, oh my gosh, other Kennedy gets assassinated. So all this really like dark stuff was going on, civil rights, all that. And so that really tied into like what was going on. And yeah, Cave Drawings, I think people get really angry about it because I think what happens is like what's really kind of it feels like it's being pushed, I think, to some people. And I think it's an unfortunate kind of thing that happens because like for myself, I feel like I support everybody. I don't care, what kind of whatever you do is like, it's you can express yourself however you want to, and you can live your life however you want. I mean, that's what's so great about being American or whatever, right? I think what upsets people about what's being, put on in like comic books today is that it seems like it's like, at least for me, like with DC, like why can't you just make a brand new character that adheres to that community or whatever? Why do you make Superboy like part of that community? I don't think it's wrong, but I think if you're trying to like, if you want to have a character like be part of that community, like make a brand new character, because then you're being more creative, and then you're like, oh cool, it's not just Superboy. And I think personally, like if anyone were to make an Asian like or a Filipino Superboy, I'd be like, dude, that's like dumb. Like that would not, and just because you're trying to get it like do a money grab basically, I don't think that's authentic, and that would actually offend me, honestly. Like I'd want like a just a kid growing up like in the whatever part of the country and who happens to be Filipino, and then make him into like a brand new character and maybe talk about how like what kind of culture he's from. That's like a good character. Kind of going off topic here, but I think that's why, but again, I think that's why people resonated so much with like Spider-Man, because one, he's like a single person, right? It's just one dude. I know he's like, he's white, but he's not like a person of color. But I think just the aspect of him being kind of a nerdy kid back in the 60s, that wasn't like jocks were like the cool, yeah, I mean, it just wasn't really cool to be a nerd back then, unfortunately. But yeah, so Silver Age, our pick, Spider-Man, ASM 15. Last one for 9.2 or for 800K. I think that's a great buy. Dude, how much would you pay for this book if you like had millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars?
Or like,
I would probably try to nab it in the highest grade I could for like basically
you're right. Yeah.
It's like I'll throw down whatever.
You're extra. I know. Yeah. Your Tinder
be like, oh, you have a 9.8 for like $2 million? Here you
go. Here you go. Oh, no,
why
not? and yeah, John, it's a lose-lose when they make a new character that they complain, because like there's one side that wants like that involvement in the community or whatever, that is like, kind of what I said. Like I don't think, it doesn't make me say it doesn't make me say like I'm not going to read comics because they don't have any Filipino characters in it, because I just still get that. I can still say like, oh, that's cool. Like, we'll talk about like kind of the modern guys later, but I think it's cool to see that segment being like recognized, or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know what I was trying to say, but basically, yeah, just I don't know. I was moving to the next slide. I don't know what to say. But yeah, definitely it's a lose-lose situation, because I think some people just it may take time or whatever to kind of get to that point too. So we're losing we're losing viewers here. Everyone's mad at me. So we had a couple of Bronze Age picks in this, and I don't know, kind of tell you why. Yeah. So this is the obvious one, the Bronze Age. Would you say that Wolverine is just a badass? There's no like, he doesn't really like correlate with somebody. He's just a badass like kind of character, and that's why people like him. And people can relate to like be not a little dude, but like he's just such a badass, and that's why you liked him. Like what for you made Wolverine your pick and my pick, or one of your two picks and my pick?
So he's just kind of that character from this age that went from just like a guest appearance like this in a Hulk book to like everywhere. Like he got his own solo like multiple solo series. He got his own, like he joined the X-Men when they reinvented them and came out with the giant size X-Men. Yeah, just like one of those characters that like when you think Bronze Age, like he jumps to the top of the pile. And it's just like, and plus like this right here is the like probably the most debated first versus cameo like appearance like that anybody could go into. And it's like, and it's all because of like Overstreet back in the day messing up with it when they first did it. They had like in their 80-81 their consensus, they had 81 listed as a first, and 80 had no description. And then in 81-82 they were like, oh well, actually 180 is the first and 181 is the cameo. And then in 82 they switched it like back, and then it's just like finally they decided on like, all right, well 180 is the first cameo appearance, 181 is an appearance, and 182 is a cameo. And it's like, all right, well, like it doesn't really solve much.
So growing up, like being an awesome kid back in the 90s and having all that good stuff, 181, and I saw 180, but I never thought of it being like, oh, the cameo of like, I didn't know what a cameo was back then. But like when you go into a comic book store, this is just kind of my rule for like any type of comic book first appearance cameo like argument. When you go into a comic book store, what's the first thing, or comic book store, spin rack, whether it's comic books, whether it's magazines, whatever it is, what do you look at first?
The
cover, right? So in my opinion, what up, dog? In my opinion, when there's always an argument,
if I'm a kid though, walking into the store, if I'm a kid though, I probably walked in the store and looked at the candy first and then looked at the cover.
you probably looked at the nudie magazines because you're a big pervert, and
you've always they had the little black covers on them so you couldn't see.
That's right. You didn't go to the back of the, never mind. Anyway, so let's see here. So here's the thing. So I talked to an old head here in Seattle, Government Man's Comics. I'm not sponsoring him, but I just go to him a lot. He said growing up that 180 was the book to get, and that when the kind of like later down the road, 181 was like the 181 was the one that I always knew as the first appearance. Now I don't know about manipulation. I don't know about like who had more 181s or 180s, but like, if you compare the both comic books side by side, 181 to me is like the cooler cover. So like, and especially in this age of like grading and encasing stuff, like no one opens a book anymore when you encase it, because that's the whole freaking point, right? So, and I guess the argument too is like, well, he appears in the cover, right? Well, if you do a deep dive, I'm sure he appears in other things too prior to like 181 anyway. Yeah. And he's like, it's not like he's in the story. It's just like it's a preview of the next issue. And from what I know, and it's very little, so don't quote me on this. Like, they did that for. I mean, that's what episodes do. You know, like when like I was watching The Last of Us, the last part, and they always show a preview of the next episode.
Yeah.
So, anyway, like I don't. It's a funny argument. I always think of it like, well, if some dude's pushing it like online, and I'm not trying to talk crap or whatever, but like I always feel like if someone's pushing like the lesser one and trying to prop up that value, right? They probably got a stack of 25 of them, you know, for whatever reason. They do this stupid YouTube show talking to their best friend on a Sunday at 10:30 in the morning about it. Oh, what? Never mind. Just kidding. Anyway, we're talking more about the characters, but we're getting into the comics too. And this is an argument that I think a lot of people have kind of like gone into, but and yeah, this is kind of like for me the nail in the coffin. 181 by far has the most appeal. It sells the most because of that. I mean, it's because of the cover, right?
Well, yeah, I like the cover. The colors a lot more too, anyways, on it than 180. And it has more eye appeal to me.
Yeah,
because I do like the reds and the yellows, and like it just pops more.
Yeah, and yeah, and kind of what I was saying earlier. 180 is like officially the first appearance, but dude, like, I mean, what was it? First appearance of Gambit is like the annual 12 or whatever. Like that's a horrible cover. I'd rather have the Gambit first cover. He's like fully drawn. He looks sick. He's like in the bayou, you know, all that good stuff. Gambit's like my favorite X-Man. So like when people ask me like, what'd you say?
I said getting a little Lenya.
Could
a little extra on it.
That was the best X-Men episode ever. Anyway, so Jason, I'm gonna let you talk about this next one. And because I liked what you said about your pick for the Bronze Age, and this is kind of like a 1A. I think we were talking about it, and we were kind of thinking a little bit. We were losing that. We're using that medulla oblongata a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Alligators are angry because they got all them teeth, but no toothbrush. Yeah, well, so like that's why I was kind of. This one popped out to me only because it's not like the most iconic character from the Bronze Age. Like obviously, like there's other ones who you would put above it, but as far as like African American characters within Marvel, this Luke Cage was the one to kind of blow the doors open and like change the landscape as far as that was concerned, because T'Challa had made his appearance in Fantastic Four already, but never got a solo series. Like he had made appearances. It wasn't until Luke Cage got his that all these other black characters started showing up. It was like then you had Blade and Monica Rambeau, and just kind of all these dominoes started to fall going forward because he kind of came in and kicked the door open. And he was like, it was all because Marvel wanted to kind of capitalize on the popularity of Shaft back in the was it 70s, I want to say. And so they kind of came up with this character. And so like after that is kind of when everybody started to get their own solo series, and you started seeing like Black Panther get his solo run and stuff like that. Like this was the guy. And so that's why it kind of popped up to me. I'm like, he wasn't necessarily the most popular, but I feel like he was one of the characters that changed the landscape and paved the way for things that we enjoy now.
Yeah. And I think kind of and kind of what we were kind of talking about earlier, like this is how you introduce a character if you're trying to represent that community, I think. And again, like I'm not a editor or whatever, but I know what I like and I know what I can kind of like read. I think one of the coolest characters, I didn't highlight her in this comic book, but like Naomi from DCU. I don't know if you read that comic book, but like Bendis, whatever you want, whatever you're, you know, whatever, however people feel about him. Like, I thought that was a really well written character. The show was, I didn't even watch it, but I heard it was really bad. But that was actually a really cool character to read about, and she was female, so even more so, right? Like I think last couple episodes we talked about like the lack of female representation or just female like characters, and they just don't like hit for some reason. But if you haven't read Naomi, it's a newer book, but I loved that story. That was like a DC book for one, and then like one I couldn't wait till the next one came out the next month. I like this pick, dude, because like I was like, this is how you present a character. If you're really trying to, if you're really trying to be authentic, like write a new freaking character. That's what is so cool about comic books, is like you can write, the newness of it. We get comic books every month. It's like it's a guaranteed new thing every month, right? Like stop trying to retcon characters and like recreate them. Like make new ones, and then if they don't hit, that's cool. But like I feel like it gets you more excited. Like how
it's like at least you try.
Yeah, and how are people people were so excited about Tosin? Like that was the character from like last year, that everybody talked about. They didn't talk about, brand new XYZ character revamped into something different. It's confusing. They just started like from scratch and developed this like amazing character. Did a good job advertising it. And anyway, I like this pick though, dude. I didn't even think of it. So,
well, because another one that I was thinking too, as far like going off the female representation, like Aurora Monroe, Storm, like she was kind of like that first like powerful female character. And like you can say what you want about leaders of the X-Men, but dude, she ran that shit. Like,
dude, she runs it right now. She's running it right now, man.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. I just read it, but dude, she's an Omega level freaking mutant. And I don't.
She was a princess too.
And she's a princess. She's royalty.
So she had that like royalty to her.
I don't know why Marvel doesn't like put her more on a showcase than they should.
Like they treat, like in the movie, they treated her like almost like a B character. Like she was just kind of like, they were like, here, go make some Storm or something. Like freeze these guys.
Or just do your like weather thing, whatever.
Yeah, she's got so much more depth to her character. Like I would honestly like to see like an origin story for her.
Yeah, even the origin story, like back in the cartoon, that was one of my favorite episodes with her as like a little kid, and then remember the Shadow King like comes through and like she has to fight the Shadow King. That would be like that episode in X-Men would be a great movie of like African-American character who's a badass, who's female. I mean, dude, and the origin story would be sick. Like Marvel, are you hearing us?
Yeah. Do you get that? Tap.
Yeah. Tap. Oh. Anyway. Nice pick, man. So we're going to the modern age. Thanks again, everybody. We got 11 live. We were up to 15, which makes me happy. If you haven't subscribed to us, please do so. If you haven't liked our video, I understand. It's like we're almost like we're hungover today. We just didn't get to party. But thanks again for everybody watching. I wanted to highlight someone in the chat who is not really from the era of comic books, but Taylor Harder. I don't do Switch a lot or Twitch. I don't do Twitch a lot, but Taylor she's on Twitch. So if you guys are on Twitch, follow the homie Taylor Harder. She streams quite a bit. I want to say she has quite a bit of followers, but I want to thank her for coming through if she's still in the chat. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Good stuff. Cough Ridge. Yeah. And kind of Adam, to kind of parlay on what we were saying, they've done a really good job on characters that are female. I don't know why they don't. It just be like that way. And Spawn is, I think if you talk to any like late 30s, 40-year-old dude, like regardless of like whether they're into comics or not, like they know Spawn. There's so many reasons why I think this comic book defined an age for the modern / copper age, whatever you want to call it. But Jason, what did Spawn say to you when you were a kid?
Spawn, like I just remember the first thing that stood out to me was the artwork. Obviously, like I remember seeing that cover and just being like, "Whoa! Like what is this about?" And then you kind of like read the story and you see this struggle about like this like good man who gets put in a terrible situation, and he does what he does for the love of his family, and to like basically essentially like protect them. And it's just like it evolves into this, and it's it was just a good story overall. I remember, and it's just like, because it's crazy. So this came out in what, like 92, I think it was, and like McFarlane had designed Spawn back in like 77 when he was in high school. He did his first drawing of him, and it's just like there was so many different appearances. Like everybody heralds like Malibu 13 as kind of like the first appearance, but it was like he was popping up in all sorts of stuff. Like it was on the cover of like Stan Lee used to do these Stan Lee Presents, the comic book greats, like VHS tapes, and Spawn was on the cover of that first one. As well as like what's it called, like late 91, they had the first Spawn piece as like his adult life. So it's plus it's Todd McFarlane, man, art and story.
And so I was going back and forth because of like there's so much time between, like, this era is so like lengthwise, it's like really wide or whatever. I almost put Ninja Turtles as the modern age book, but I was like, no, is that Copper? Like, so confused anyway. But I didn't put them on because I felt that this book did so much for just the industry as a whole. It basically said, like, I think it kind of like how Teen Spirit, like, is the song of the 90s. It's kind of like, here we are now, that kind of thing. I love just how the top dudes just said, screw Marvel. We're going to do our own stuff. We're going to do our own art. We're going to do our own freaking studio. And we're going to pay our artists like correctly. And we're going to take over the industry. And you guys can't do anything about it. And in all honesty, I mean, this kind of contributed to Marvel's bankruptcy in the 90s, right? So that's why for me, this was like my, or I guess our like kind of like pick for the modern age, because it's just, and I think like it was just such a like Ninja Turtles was a great story. It just didn't have like the background of like of Image and Spawn as in general. And like, I just think this just inspired so many people or so many creators to be like, hey, I don't have to go to Marvel or DC. I can go to like an independent publisher and create my own stuff. And like so many, I wouldn't say so many great stories came out of this, but like, I mean, Avengers came out of this. Avengers. Wildcats came out of this. Let's see. Authority kind of came down later down the road, but like, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because this like led to me. There's like books that I probably wouldn't have read that I read because of this launching and kind of Image Comics, like Pit. I remember reading Pit. Yeah. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, dude. Pit came out of this, man. Yeah, dude. Spawn was like a gateway drug into like other independents, and then like what I'm going to talk about in our next slide. Oh my God, Silvestri, who was like kind of like the other big artist that came out of this. So Jim Lee obviously was like, came over and did Ripclaw, which is one of my favorite characters from here. He's kind of a take on Wolverine.
Old Rob Liefeld coming.
Rob Liefeld with them big ass arms and thick ass legs, stuff like that. And Top Cow, who watched Adam, you'll like the next slide here, but yeah, I just think, and there's there's a trillion copies of this comic book, but dude, like a 9.6 still goes for like $100, $150, because that's just, everybody wants that book. You know what I mean? So
I got a couple of these ones signed by the Toddfather now.
I'm actually looking at two of them that I got signed.
Mine are like sitting right back behind my shoulder over here.
Yeah.
I got my new stand and my regular one.
Right. Again, we got 13 live. Thanks everybody for chatting with us before the Super Bowl. We were kind of talking about our picks for the Super Bowl. So we'll talk about the end when we right before they do the giveaway and make sure everybody's here. And Wetworks, dude, yeah. Homie Emons, who oh my gosh. But Willis Portacio, Portacio. He's the one that wrote or drew Wetworks too. That was a great comic book. So this is I kind of thought also like this is kind of what Jason was talking about earlier with Luke Cage. This is kind of like not necessarily like define the era, but kind of spawn a trend. So yeah. Witchblade and my boy Renee, Dragon's Den, Shifting Scales on Instagram. On the feed there, I put some people you should follow too, and just kind of like check out the feed and follow some of those people on there. Me and Renee, I've known Renee since I was a kid, and I have this infamous story about we were talking about the other day, Witchblade. So the reason I picked Witchblade is I remember as a kid wanting this book so bad. It was like $100. It was like a modern grail before modern grails came out, right? It was on the Wizard top 10 for like 2 years. It was like number one consistently for like ever. And I remember Renee, who's Dragon's Den over here. He was like, I was like, hey, do you have this comic book called Witchblade? He's like, oh yeah, I use it to actually draw. I tried drawing the cover. I tried tracing it, and I was like, what? So he showed me the cover. I don't know. We were talking about the other day. I'm not sure if he still has it, but I remember he showed it to me, and it's like got like spine ticks all the way down the spine. But dude, like I can never find a copy of that. Like, and eBay was like nothing, dude. It was like you sent a check in the mail to somebody or whatever. But like you could unless you found it at like a comic book store, there's no way back then you were able to get this book. The reason I picked this book is because although Spawn's basically like defines the era of like modern copper, bronze, whatever the hell you want to call it, or bronze, whatever you want to call it. When she came out, drawn by the late great Michael Turner, by the way, all these heroine female like strong, sexy females came out. Lady Death was really. Do you remember Lady Death? Do you remember her?
Yes.
Her first appearance, Witchblade's first appearance is Ashley and Shy. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you did. It's okay though, man. You can get one probably for a pretty good price. Yeah, Witchblade and Darkness. Darkness is my favorite comic book ever. Her Darkness's first appearance is in Witchblade 10. Get that gold cover edition. Anyway, when this book came out, all these artists were like, "Oh shoot, like we got to get on like this hotness." And I don't know if it brought in like new like readers from other genres, but I know that for sure, like you start to see after Witchblade was on the Wizard top 10, you started to see Evangeline, Dawn from another independent kind of thing, and they weren't really coming from Marvel because Marvel can do those risque type covers and stuff like that. So I think it really helped. Yes, shout out to the Filipino artists out there. I think it really helped kind of spawn the heroine kind of like strong, sexy characters for the modern age, quote unquote. So I thought it was kind of cool that we picked 2 independent comic books too, which kind of shows you that like the independent kind of run really started during this era. So it was almost perfect timing. I think it was what was needed for the industry. Did you ever read or want this book at all when you were a kid?
I never read, honestly, like I was going to let you educate me on it here because I was just like, I had never read that book. I mean, the video games I had heard of when those started to come out, but as far as reading this, I had never seen the books before or read them anyways.
I never played the video game, Iman, but I knew about it. Because, dude, back then, like, you didn't really play, like, video game, like, comic books. I mean, I didn't really. I don't know. I always thought, like, oh, that's, like, dumb. Why are they making, like, I was dumb. It's
like, which game am I going to play in between Final Fantasy 7?
Yeah, I mean, like, really.
What am I going to fill the time with in between?
Yeah. What are you guys thinking about? But anyway, I don't know. What do you guys think about these picks? Are we stupid? Are we just dumb? Or should we just work on Jason's Tinder profile? I mean, like,
I know I'm dumb.
You are like,
I don't need other people to tell me I'm dumb. I already know that.
I'm like, waste of time. Like, I can't do anything. Just kidding. But we're almost done with all our slides. I can't remember what I picked for the last one.
It's Miles.
Oh, you're gonna like the Final Fantasy 7 drop later, dog. But I think this is kind of an easy one, and the reason I wanted to highlight this topic today was because I don't know if comic book I froze. I don't know if comic readership is slowing down or like readers are leaving, because like I got thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam. Work on both. I don't like my nephew. He's into soccer. He's like a total kid. You know, he loves video games, all that stuff. And I was like, hey man, do you want to go to the video game store or comic book store with me? He's like, I don't really read comic books. I'm like, oh. And then I got other kids that I'm like, oh, who's your favorite character? And they're like, you know, ages like 6 to 14. So like almost 30 years younger than us, right? And I was always curious of like, okay, who do they get excited about like when a new comic book issue comes out, or like they see an action figure like in the Target, I guess the mall, it's not so much anymore. So I know this is a pretty obvious pick, and it spans a very long time, right? But dude, I think and that's a good point. I think anime and manga are starting to creep up. So maybe that shift from comic books is going to manga and, you know, whatever. But when you ask a kid that's like 16 years old or like younger, I go, who's Spider-Man? They always say Miles Morales. Whether kid's white, whether kid's black, Cuban, or Asian, you know, like it's Miles is their Spider-Man. And I remember when this book came out, I was thinking, oh my gosh, they're just trying to do another money grab. Why don't they just do another authentic, like, you know, character? And the more I read about him, I'm like, dude, this is like, I'm not mad about this at all, because, you know, dude, what's up, Yee? Aaron, we got royalty in the house. Aaron Yee is in the house, man. Jason, Aaron's from Houston. And so whenever you get like a Houston, like whenever I get like a Houston baseball card or whatever, I haven't bought packs in a while, but like I always save them and send it to Yeezy. And if we do trades or whatever, he always sends me like Mariner cards. Yeah. Well, one day, dude, we gotta roll down to Houston and watch a Mariner game in that weird park with the hill and all the stuff going on. It's actually.
I don't think he's sending you any Julio Rodriguez cards, though.
Unfortunately, not. So I don't blame him. He's ours and he's no one else's. But anyway, yeah, I think everyone can make the same agreement, and you don't have to, but I think this Miles is the future of comic books. It's, I would say, more like I like reading him. Do you like reading Miles stories at all?
Yeah, because it's just it's similar feeling because it's Spider-Man, but it's got a definitely different vibe to it, obviously, because it's a different Spider-Man. Sure. He's gonna have different challenges in his life, like stuff like that. So I thought it was a cool character to come out with. He had a different or his origin story is a little bit different too. Like he kind of goes from like being a thief who just happens to break into an abandoned Oscorp building, and that spider finds its way into his backpack, and like, don't they even, what is it, like, doesn't he get captured at one point too, because he starts like gallivanting around in like a Spider-Man Halloween costume or something like that, fighting people? And, he gets captured by Nick Fury.
Yeah, I'm confusing myself because he's in the story arc for the new Spider-Man. So I think they do a good job of like incorporating the, you know, current generations or the Peter Parker and Miles into like one book, and then Miles doing his own story, which is cool. And yeah, here's another thing that JT is talking about. He's finally getting villains, and the new villains, correct me if I'm wrong, she's like a female and she is like super smart. So it's kind of like Riri, but like evil Riri in a way. So she has a really good origin story. I think that's the big thing that people not complain, but like would wish that name a villain for Miles. And it's really weird that they don't have like a lot of villains, or like they just take like a villain from Spider-Man and bring him into, you know, I would think it'd be
like
cool
he's going to go
have,
to this other Earth, and then he's going to fight like this villain that already exists or whatever.
Yeah, it's like if you really want to grow the character, which is obviously like every kid, you know, that I talk to is like, you know, their Spider-Man is Miles. Give him like more villains, like give him more like, and it doesn't have to be like Starling. Yeah, but like Starling's like what? Isn't she like she just kind of has a hots for him and stuff? But true, that's true. I just I do like the story though. I don't know why I dig it. I can't like hit like a particular knob with it, but I just think it's, you know, he's a fun character. He has kind of like a charm about him, which I think is really cool. And it's cool that, I mean, at least like this is the hope for like the future generations of like comic book readers and all that. So
well, he's more fun to watch as a newer generational Spider-Man, only because like Peter Parker was always like kind of that nerdy scientist, but like Miles is like street smart, like, and so he already has that kind of like that knowledge and background to him, whereas like Peter Parker was just kind of like Peter Parker, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's fun to watch him. Well, not to mention, I do have his shoes too, so.
You got the shoes, dog. Yeah, that's for sure. If you didn't catch that episode, we talked about like collectibles that we own and like we'll maybe never ever get rid of. It's one of the previous episodes. Catch us on the rewind and get watch some of our dumb shows that we like to watch. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, cool list, dude. I thought it was fun to do this list. It was kind of easy the first couple ones, but once we kind of got into the later kind of slides and all that good stuff, I thought it was a cooler conversation, and you know, we may have like kind of veered off into a little bit of controversy with kind of the Bronze Age, or not Bronze Age, but like the Silver Age X-Men kind of like discussion. But I think it's an important like kind of topic to talk about and discuss and all that. Just because, you know, we want to keep the community like all positive and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah. So yes, swagger.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, again, thanks everybody. We got 14 live. We were up to 16, so that's great for Sunday for us. And I do really enjoy doing this with my homie Jason, even though I hate him, and for many reasons that you guys don't know, but it's all good. So anyway, nothing. Did you say something? Okay, let's do a market report. We're almost done. So I was kind of talking about this earlier. Thank you guys.
Oh, okay. Yes, I have seen that cover.
Okay, cool. So we were talking about this cover, and I'm sure everyone else was too. The one on the right. So Static Shadows of Dakota 1/100 foil version copial variant. I hope I'm saying that right. Dude, I had major FOMO. I bid on that book like hella. Team Mariners fans. We're taking down Houston this year. God damn it.
We're getting better. We made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, dude, on a side note, MLB.com or some network, thanks. They ranked the Mariners pitching staff 20th in Major League Baseball.
Word.
East Coast bias? Are you freaking kidding me? I hate everyone.
I'd say they probably have a top 10 bullpen, honestly.
Do they have top 3? You know, we're taking Houston down. Okay, telling you, Mariners. Anyway, back to the comic books. That Dakota foil variant. Did anyone in the chat get that book? Like FOC or just in general, dude? Yeah, I didn't get this book, so as a consolation, I bought 3 of these guys. The Stack Season 1. I haven't read that series. I read this book, just the regular cover. It really doesn't. Bronze Age is from Washington, so we agree on a lot of things. I got this as a consolation prize for myself because it was an open order book and it's virgin, and I think it's a great cover too. But damn, dude, like this book is like, I don't know anyone that was ordering one in like 100 copies of that first book. but that cover is like freaking amazing, man. You gotta read Static, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I definitely want to.
Yeah,
I'll have to, next time I'm at the shop, I'll have to peek around for it.
Yeah. So I bought this as a consolation prize because I didn't want to get into the FOMO, and I'm happy about it. Maybe I'll pick one up if it goes down in price. If it doesn't, it's all good. You know, it is what it is. Magazine market. This one's for you, Jason. A Playboy magazine full vintage collection because I know you like those older ladies.
I mean, I'm getting to be an older gentleman.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Playboy, so 12 grand. I don't know what the actual price was that it went for, but like 12 grand. And then I thought this was kind of cool. It's 7 Fortune magazines from 1932 to 1933. Like, check out that artwork. I've never seen artwork on Fortune magazine, and so $95. I thought we talk a lot about magazines in the Discord. Blue Green Artifacts is like, he knows a lot, and I'm trying to kind of catch up to him. I got a lot of work to do, but kind of pivoting from like comic books, I think magazines are kind of an underrated collectible that is a very small buy-in and like hundreds of percents like increase in like or return on equity, so or return on investment. Yeah, Gillespie's, like, we really don't get any respect, man. I guarantee you. Like, it's, I don't know what it is about it, but everyone hates us. We're Alaska West. Everyone thinks we're in Alaska. I don't know.
Yeah, they always hate on the
I like that.
Pac-12 too. Like, they don't get respect.
The Pac-10. It's back to the Pac-10 now.
Is that what they're going to call it finally?
Well, I mean, you know, USC and UCLA is like leaving.
I feel like they're probably going to bring Boise State and somebody else in though.
I'm okay with that. Bring the Vandals. Bring in Gonzaga. Bring him in. Anyway, in honor of stuff I probably shouldn't have sold when I was in college and LeBron breaking the record for most points ever, your 2003 Bowman Chrome LeBron, 33 bids, $361. Yeah, I pulled 3 of these at a PAX when I was in college. Was when I was in the frat with my buddy Jeff, and I'm really sad about that. Did you have any LeBron cards, or were you like ask around? That's for kids.
No, I didn't have any LeBron cards. I wasn't like the biggest LeBron fan when he was coming out because my boy Kobe was still up in the league, and I'm like, stop disrespecting Kobe. He's the best.
All right, Jason, we're gonna make some people upset in the chat right now. In order of 1 through 3, and you can use your bias. I don't care. What order? Kobe, Jordan, and LeBron for greatest of all time.
Like, as far as like what I would pick?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I would. Well, just because it's my bias, but I'd go Jordan, Kobe, LeBron.
I'm right there with you.
Like LeBron hopped around too much for me.
One too. What's that?
LeBron hopped around too much for me. Like, it's more of a matter of like he couldn't do it in Cleveland by himself coming in. Then he had to go to Miami and do it with 2 to 3 other guys. And then he had to go back to Cleveland, but they brought dudes back and they had Kyrie. And it was just kind of like, all right, well, and now he's in LA and they do 1 championship once they finally bring AD over and stuff like that. But now they just can't figure their crap out. Although I do like the trades that the Lakers just made. So we'll see how that pans out for him for the rest of the year.
I think ultimately him winning a championship in Cleveland like helped his legacy to be considered a GOAT, but had he not won that championship, like, he's not even the conversation for me. You replace him with Curry, because like I don't think, like, when LeBron quote unquote like changed the game, but he didn't make it more entertaining for me to watch. Curry does.
Well, see, and that's the thing too, is like I loved watching Kobe, and that's kind of my bias, is like, because I put, as far as like me, like my top 2 are Magic Johnson, but I didn't get to watch his whole career. Like, I wasn't old enough. I kind of saw like the middle through the end, and then Kobe, I got to see his whole career, and like obviously I have the Kobe tattoo on my friggin' leg, so.
The product of the NBA is so different now because like you don't get to see teams like stick together, and that's just how it is. And I'm not like hating on it. It's just not my product. But and Manuel said Jordan had help in Chicago for sure. I guess like for me, it's just they didn't like here's the thing that makes Jordan for me like I'll move on. But here's the thing that makes Jordan the best of all time, or the greatest of all time, is he freaking left the league and gave people a chance to win or to give it. And that's the only time in between his legacy that people could win teams could win championships. And then he comes back and wins another 3. That just sells it. Like no one can ever repeat that legacy. No one ever left the game and then came back.
And it's kind of like the league that Jordan played in was like 10 times harder than the league that you have now. Nobody plays defense anymore. Like you're getting these like 130 to 120 games and stuff like that, and it's just kind of like Jordan. Like half of these guys, like would LeBron have been able to be as durable and played as long as he has if he was playing in Jordan's era? Like I think he might have gotten beat up a little bit more because like he wouldn't be getting those flagrant fouls and stuff like that when somebody barely touches him. He's going to take an elbow when he's going up, and they're just going to whistle it and give him the ball out of bounds. Like, you know what I'm saying? So. Yeah. It's just kind of, and Kobe came up in a little bit of both. Like he was at the tail end of that, but then kind of ushered in through, and he had that same mentality of like that just hard play. So
Kareem, I even say Bill Russell. He's a non-mentioned champion. I mean, numbers don't lie. He has like 17 million championships. So
Pistol Pete Maravich too.
Pistol Pete with his like little exercise and stuff, man. If anyone in the chat has like sons that are like 10 and 11, have them practice Pistol Pete YouTube, like dribbling skill, like dribbling, whatever. No one does it. I guarantee you, no one does it. That's a great way to teach your kid how to dribble and just like be in control of the ball. Oh, he did. I didn't know that.
I always tell people now, if you're going to get your kid into a sport, get them into golf young. Like they're going to retire you when they get good and like
or
start
soccer,
making money at like 21.
I think soccer, because you can play anywhere in the world and make money. Yeah. Except Philippines. We don't like soccer, right? Right, Filipino people in chat. I'll keep moving.
You guys like basketball, though. I do see that.
We suck at basketball. We're not like tall. I mean, dude.
I know, but you guys love basketball.
We love it. We love it, but we suck. We suck. Okay. For sports spec, for cards, if there's ever a full-blooded Filipino that becomes like sort of good, buy his card. That's my sports spec. We're passionate about our people. Anyway, so this 2022 Topps Chrome update, Julio, $5,000. Crazy. He's gonna be a stud. He is a stud already.
He's our new Ken Griffey Jr., man.
He is this era's Ken Griffey Jr. He's got the smile and everything. Jason, I thought we'll never be tall enough. Yeah. Iman, I hope you like this Final Fantasy VII pick that we have. So keeping with our theme of pick of fried chicken, Final Fantasy, pumpkin pie, and soda. Jason, dude, Final Fantasy VII for $30. Would you get that if it worked? You could verify. Yeah, dude.
Because I have that, but I'm missing disc 2.
Yeah, it's like the worst. It's like the worst.
My friend borrowed that when I was a kid and never gave it back.
He's not your friend.
Yeah,
he's not your friend.
Obviously,
he's an enemy. We'll find you. What is his name? What's the guy's name?
Garrett.
Hey, Garrett, we're looking for you. Anyway, and then one of my favorite parts in the game where you're on the motorcycle and you get to like kick people and like whip them with stuff.
He's like, pish, pish, pish.
Dude, every single, I don't have it, I promise. Every single like video game, like every single video game, like special edition always had this like figure or some type of culmination of it.
Do you remember when we were playing that? And I fake grabbed that crane fly and threw it at you, and you like freaked out.
No, I don't, Jason. Shut up.
So you're like, touch me. I'm like, I didn't throw anything, man.
I hate Jason. Anyway, these are some crazy buys I found. I do remember that. I swear to God, it was a crane. Some crazy buys I found on eBay. So this, I thought it was cool. Abraham Lincoln autograph, little cut mini. It's not on a card, I don't think. But $15,000, I thought, like, everyone's like buying like these like kind of modern age like quote unquote museum pieces like UF4 like 1 in 25 for like 35 grand. I'd much rather have a freaking Abraham Lincoln signature than a UF4 variant, but that's just me because, dude, I mean, can you imagine having one of the greatest presidents of all time like their autograph like encased for like that much? Yeah, Garrett, we're coming after you. Would you want that, or would you want to? Okay, Jason, would you rather have a UF4 variant 1 in 25, 9.8, or this?
What, the card?
Yeah, the signature.
Ooh, I don't know. I might go with the book just because like it displays well.
I was kidding. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, whatever.
Like this is kind of like, what am I going to do with that? Like I could put the other one up.
You're gonna say, "Hey, museum, do you want this autographed signature of Abraham Lincoln
like
for 30 grand?"
Or maybe I could just give it to him and I get a price cut off of ticket sales to see it.
That'd be cool. I mean, donate it, and then like when you want to
put it on display. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was like kind of a cool buy. And then have you heard about this Disney Lorcana game? It's like Magic the Gathering meets.
Have I heard of it? Yeah.
So have you heard about like this set that came at the D23 Expo?
I mean, I didn't know that there was a set that came out. I knew that they had the that friggin' Disney card, or the Mickey card was going for crazy amounts.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, yeah, it's I'm kind of regretting selling mine. It was at 8.5 though. That's why I sold it, but it goes raw, the Mickey one, for like 850. I should have held on to it a little longer, but whatever, it is what it is. But dude, $19,000, that's way too much money. I don't this game would be a total flop.
Cards.
I can't wait for it either, man. Creed for sure.
It's like for that price, those 7 cards better I better be able to play one and then I win. Like, here you go. Boom. Take that.
Take that, 7-year-old.
Like, just so you know, shuffled in my deck somewhere are 7 cards that end you immediately. Have fun with that.
Yeah, it's like old school Magic the Gathering. I think Lorcana is going to be very successful if the game is like fun, because it hits so many genres of like gameplay, with like just Disney collectors in general, Pokemon players. Like, it's going to help the franchise. It's going to help the brand of Disney, and there's so many characters they can incorporate in it. It's just, I think it has to play well though, and it has to be collectible. I think Disney will do a good job with it, but
I don't know if they have, but they'll probably start implementing what's it called, Kingdom Hearts characters too.
Yeah, right. That's all I got. And I'm quitting because Jason's freaking annoying. So this is our last show. Good. I'm just kidding, everybody. Jason is annoying, but this is not our last show. It's giveaway time. I have everybody in the wheel, but I'm not sure if everybody's in the chat. So if you're still, when's this coming out?
Give like a thumbs up or something, I guess, in the chat.
If you still want to be part of if you still want to be part of the contest, I'm gonna take everybody's names out. If you want to be part of the contest, let's see here. Hold on. Or sorry, if you want to be part of the giveaway, all you gotta do is say in the chat that you want to be part of the giveaway. So say okay, Renee. JT, do you want in this drawing? K-Drons, I got you in there. Creed, we got you in there. Let's see, who else we got? Anybody else? I only got 3 so far. So here, I'll do a share. Adam, we got, let's see here. Adam. JT, do I got you in there? JT. Aaron. Iman. You guys can see this all right? Creed, I think I got you in there. Jizz, do you want it? Jizzy, do you want it? Jizzy, do you want it? Okay. I can't believe I just said that. That was horrible.
What?
Nothing. Okay, Mano. Anybody else want in the Jizzy? I got you in there. Damn, I almost did twice. I'm just say Gillespie's for next time. Okay, so I think I got Adam. Do I got you in there? Adam Erickson. If everybody's in the chat, so I have 9 entries. Anybody else want this? And here is the here's what it is. Do you see that, Jason?
The wheel? Oh, the book? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what it's for. Okay. We got 9 entries. Okay, cool. I'm gonna run it real quick. Good luck, everybody. And thanks again for watching. Let's see here. Oh, Renee. Oh, shoot. John, I missed you, man. Sorry, dude. I'll put 2 of you in next week's. So yeah, man, that's our show. Let's okay, cool. Thanks, Iman. I saw your DM. Thanks everybody for coming through the show today. I had fun. 14 live, especially on Super Bowl Sunday. Thanks a lot. That's really awesome that you guys all came through and listened to us BS. Iman, again, I highlighted him earlier, but tomorrow he's got something going on, and it's a live show. He's interviewing, I believe I don't know who he's interviewing, but it's follow his YouTube show or YouTube page. He's got a lot of good stuff. Super positive guy. We share the same admiration for our new agents of Atlas, War of the Realms, #1, Miko Suyan variant 9.8. Damn, Brian, I'm sorry I couldn't get you. I didn't get you in the giveaway, but next time we'll do it. Jason, do you have any closing thoughts for today's show? You can't say no. You have to include something, otherwise people get mad.
Do they?
Yeah, and then come at me.
Yeah, I mean, the good show, all that stuff. Like, just got new stuff to read and things to look into now.
Yeah. Did you sign up for that? You have that DC like you kind of subscription, right?
Not yet, but I probably will. I just finished reading all those books that I picked up last week or whatever it was, like the 2 Swamp Thing like novels, and then the Silver Surfer Ghostlight and all that stuff.
Yes, and I think I don't really know anything coming up next week, but if anybody has a copy of that 10100, post it up on Instagram and tag me in it. I'll repost it and say congratulations. John Smith has Comixology, and I heard it's like there's Jason. You have Comixology, right?
I have the Marvel app.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Only because like I like I'll buy the books and stuff like that to have them, but just so I don't damage them, I generally try to read them online.
Okay.
If I can.
All right.
All of these ones I read all of them, so.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's see here. We're gonna end the show with our introduction. Thanks everybody again for watching, and I hope you have a good Super Bowl Sunday. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch our show 8 million times so we get 4,000 hours so we get monetized. Just kidding. And we'll see you next Sunday. Take care.